This is your news report, second stimulus check update, and second stimulus package update. The Washington Post writes that Congress's stimulus impasse must end, even if it means Democrats accepting a smaller stimulus deal. Negotiations between Pelosi and the Trump administration broke off before the November 3rd election. The latter had upped its offer to $1.9 trillion, but the speaker objected that the proposal lacked details such as a plan for containing the pandemic. Meanwhile, President Trump was sending mixed signals. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was refusing to accept any stimulus package more than $500 billion. Nonetheless, a stimulus deal needs to be approved as soon as possible. I think that our politicians in Congress, such as Speaker Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, should pass a skinny stimulus relief bill for now, to help those that have been affected by the pandemic. And then when Joe Biden is inaugurated into office, then they can go for the much bigger stimulus. But folks, I want to know what you think. Do you think that Congress should pass a skinny stimulus bill right now? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Now before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell so you never miss all the newest and most up-to-date, reliable stimulus check information. And let's get this video to 1,000 likes if you think that Congress needs to pass a second stimulus check. For some election news, let's check out this statement from Rudy Giuliani.
Section 1, Clause 2 of our Constitution. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. It's the state legislature that controls this process. It's your power. It's your responsibility. And I think you know, and you have to convince the rest of your members, Republican and Democrat, they owe that to the people of your state, and they owe that to the people of the United States. Because if this happens without consequence, if they can just enter 600,000 some odd mail-in ballots without allowing a single Republican to view it, what's to say that next time they won't do 1 million or 2 million? I know crooks really well.
Everybody tell me what you think of President Trump and the Trump campaign. And do you think that President Trump is going to concede the election? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. The Washington Post reports that the current stimulus impasse must come to an end, as cases mount across the United States. Uncertainty reigns regarding not only the damage it will ultimately do to public health, but also the damage it will do to the still recovering U.S. economy. Unfortunately, Congress remains in a bipartisan standoff. The Washington Post reports that if Pelosi's strategy was to hold out until a Democratic sweep increased her leverage, it didn't quite work out. Though Joe Biden is the president-elect, Democrats retain the House by a narrow majority, and control of the Senate awaits 2 Georgia runoffs. The precise distribution of clout in Washington is anyone's guess, but the nation's needs, especially those of the working poor and the unemployed, are beyond question. Priorities for a new package include extending eviction limits and special unemployment benefits for gig workers, another round of forgivable, no-interest loans to small businesses, and aid to state and local governments, which are facing a likely $240 billion revenue shortfall of the current fiscal year. Possibly at least some elements may be attached to a spending bill that Congress must pass by December 11th to avoid a government shutdown. Biden has sent the right signals to enable a deal. The president-elect has called for passing a bill quickly while endorsing a dollar figure close to Pelosi's. As the speaker well knows, cutting a major legislative deal across party lines is the hardest thing to do in American politics, yet often the most necessary. Pelosi also knows that there is a chance that Mitch McConnell and the president will not sign on a dotted line, even if she does redouble her efforts. Everybody tell me in the comments down below. Should our politicians in Congress stop playing the political games? And should Speaker Pelosi cave and pass a second stimulus check that is closer to McConnell's liking? And tell me what you think in the comments down below. And the Hill reports that Steve Mnuchin is about to put $455 billion in unused stimulus relief funds back into the Treasury's general fund. That is a move that will make it harder for his successor, Janet Yellen, to access the emergency funding. Mnuchin said last week that he was shuttering a handful of the Fed's emergency lending facilities, a move the central bank opposed in a rare statement. Those facilities, though little used during the pandemic, were seen as confidence boosters for capital markets. The amount to be returned by Mnuchin was part of a $500 billion allocation in the $2.2 trillion CARES Act that President Trump signed into law late March. Mnuchin at the time requested that the Fed return the funding, which Congress appropriated to cover potential pandemic-related losses, saying the CARES Act set a legal deadline for the facilities to expire by year's end. Putting the cash back into the general fund would make it harder for former Fed Chair Janet Yellen, President-elect Joe Biden's reported pick, to lead the Treasury Department next year, to deploy the funds and may require another act of Congress to do so. The Guardian reports that California approved unemployment benefits for 20,000 prisoners. At least 158 claims were filed for 133 people on death row, resulting in more than $420,000 in benefits paid. Law enforcement officials on Tuesday said that more than 35,000 incarcerated people were named in claims filed with the California Employment Development Department from March to August. More than 20,000 have been paid, according to Anne Mary Schubert, the Sacramento County District Attorney. Some residents unable to get unemployment have reported burning through their savings and going without food as a result. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also tweeted out, "If you want to know why stimulus relief is tied up in Congress, one key reason is that Republicans are demanding legal immunity for corporations so they can expose their workers to the illness without repercussions." Ted Cruz tweeted to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, "Why is your party filibustering $500 billion in relief, and Joe Biden is cheering them on, thinking that blocking relief somehow helps Democrats win Georgia?" AOC responded by saying, "The House doesn't have filibusters. We also passed several relief packages to the Senate that not only include $500 billion more, but also prioritize helping real people as opposed to Wall Street bailouts the GOP tries to pass off as relief." Everybody tell me in the comments down below, who is to blame for holding back our second stimulus check? Is it the Democrats or the Republicans? Take a look at what Michigan Senator said on the current state of stimulus.
A double-dip recession and a meaningful problem in terms of unemployment in this country, and wanted to get a deal in place before the holidays. When I say holidays, not Thanksgiving at this point, but Christmas. I know that they're pushing back on that, but what can you tell us behind the scenes?
Sure. Well, Aaron, it's good to be with you. I will say we should all be concerned about getting additional help to people to survive the pandemic, and everyone in all parts of the economy. We should be trying to help right now and not pick winners and losers, by the way. I know earlier today you've been talking about the airline industry and workers, which is critical, small businesses. At the end of this month, we're going to see people who are self-employed, contract workers, those who are gig workers, all of them will stop receiving any help.
With that being said, folks, that is all the news in regards to your second stimulus check and unemployment benefits. If you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell, and let's get this video to 1,000 likes.